Hi everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to do a stamped watercolor technique. It's a really simple technique that you can do with water-based pens. Today I'm going to be using the Bejeweled, the Bejeweled stamp by Penny Black. What's great about this is it's a rubber stamp, the cling kind of rubber stamp. It's a kind of a block image, and they give you a little, coloring idea here, which is always nice for beginners because sometimes it's a little difficult to see when you're coloring in the actual surface of the stamp, so you can kind of refer to the guide. We're going to be using completely different colors than this though, but just so you know, they have a guide there. So I'm going to take the cling stamp, put it on my block, and just to give you an idea, this is what we are going for here. That's the watercolor image that this one's on watercolor paper, but then I also did it just on regular white cardstock. There's a little bit of a difference here, but I tend to prefer the watercolor paper when using this technique, so that's what I'll do as I show you. Okay, so the first thing to do is I'm going to be using the Spectrum Noir Aqua pens. They're of course a water-based pen, and the great thing about, they're also a brush marker. The great thing about this technique is that as you're coloring, well, I should say that this is the fawn color, and this set is actually from the Essential set. It's a great selection of colors, and I'm just taking this fawn, which is a brown color, and I'm going to be coloring in the stems. And as I was saying, what's great about this technique is that you do not have to be perfect when you're coloring. It's very forgiving. I'm just going to be adding a little bit of the brown to the tips. I'm coloring the stems and the tips of the leaves with some brown. Another thing is, even though it may take you a while to do this coloring technique, the ink may start to dry up a little bit on the stamp. That's okay, because the water, when we spritz it, the water will reactivate the ink. This color is olive. Okay, and I'm going to be coloring kind of the top or the tips of the leaves with this, because it will be the lightest part. Okay, I'm trying to do this as quickly as I can, so this isn't a long video. And then this one is a tan color, although I noticed that it had a lot of green in it. So I'm going to use that for sort of the full part of the leaf, towards the base and the center. And I'm just I'm not even really blending these colors together on the stamp. I'm just sort of touching one color to the other. The water will do the blending, so that part is easy. Okay, there. So we've got the leaves and the stems done. Now we're going to do the blossoms. This one is Sunset. And I'm going to just brush color towards the center of the blossoms. This one's smaller, so the center here. And then I'm just going to touch some of the tips with a little bit of a color. This is my darkest color. And this is a spice color. And I'm just going from the outside in, blending a little bit, or just really allowing the pens to touch color. The pen color to touch color, rather. Okay, I think that's it. Alright, now the fun part. I have my mister here, just filled with regular water. Now there's two schools of thought. You can either mist directly onto the surface. You can get it a little wet, you can get it very wet. The more water that you spray, the more splotchy or runny the image is going to be. Instead of spraying directly down on it, I like to sort of spray across the image and let the water fall down on it so that it doesn't disrupt the ink pattern. So just mist it like that. I do tend to like it pretty wet. Okay, so we can see that? Okay. Now I'm going to take it and put it down there. Lift it up. Okay, so it's pretty wet. See that? And that'll just take a few minutes to dry. And then I can go ahead and use that on my card. So thanks for joining me. As you can see, this is a really simple technique, and I hope you give it a try. Watercolor, this watercolor technique is really universal. You can use it with any stamped image that really has a lot of surface to color. So maybe, you know, an outline stamp isn't going to be best, but a sort of a block stamped image is the best. And of course, always use a watercolor ink, watercolor marker, or watercolor ink pad also works, and a spritzer, and you're good to go. So thanks for joining me.